Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, The Inked Reader. My name is Eva and I have already filmed this, but it was too long, I hated it, so I'm redoing it. Basically, today I just wanted to give you a bit of an update on why I've not been reading as regularly as I used to, explaining what's going on really briefly without getting into too much details, and also planning what I'm going to do for the next year and how I'm going to shape my TBRs / wrap-ups and so forth. First of all, I just wanted to explain why I've not been reading as much as before. Next year's, I usually always hit my 100 goal on Goodreads. This year I am at 50 probably, and I would not been there if it wasn't for audiobooks. And reason being, new house, so a lot of works that has to go in there, and family of course that I need to dedicate my time to, but also, and I think that's what takes the majority of my time these days, is that I am working part-time, but it's like 24 hours. And I explain in this video here what I do. So again, I do not work always from home, so I need to travel back and forth. So you can check that video to know what I do, because I don't want to repeat too much, I don't want this to be too long. And also I'm studying full-time for a master's degree. So I've done my undergrads, graduated in 2019, and I decided to go for a master. It's a master in forensic psychology, so it's a master of science, which means that it's just a lot of work to do, and because I'm doing full time, it just requires a lot of work. And being now online for 3/4, I'd say it means that the lessons on the day are Q&A mostly, and then you've got your lectures that are usually, depends I guess, from 2 hours to 1 hour long, and then you got the study to do beforehand. So it is a full-time job basically, studying for my master, and then I got my job. So yeah, I'm studying. If I'm not studying, I'm working. If I'm not working or studying, I'm basically collapsing on the bed, exhausted at the end of the day. My reading has taken a huge hit this year. It's gonna be like this until September 2021, so I'm not expecting to change. However, I'm still proud of myself that I managed to read what I did, because I set up my alarm every morning half an hour before, so I can get half an hour reading before starting the day, because when the day starts I don't have time to sit down, basically almost even for lunch. So and sometimes I try at night to read, however I'm exhausted most of the times. So if I'm not on YouTube or watching something, I try to cut an hour a day before bedtime to read. But when I sit in bed with a book, it's just, I'm gone usually in 10 minutes. Now that I'm more bit settled in the house, I might have a reading nook soon and all of that, so I might take more time at night for reading. Reading plans for next year. First of all, I hope that by creating a reading nook, I give myself more time at night, for example, to read instead of just watching television or YouTube. I'll still do it, I'll still watch things, but I think if I got a place where to go and read, I'll be more inclined to do so. The plan is to bring back monthly wrap-ups. However, I'm not sure about TBRs. Let me know if you'd like to see those, because I probably do them, but I'm not 100% sure. So I love some feedback about that. Now, the reason why I decided to bring back a monthly one is that because if you are new, you won't know this. If you followed me for a little bit, you know that I've put different TBRs on my channel, and they are, I would say, categorical TBRs. For example, I got a fantasy TBR where I will read a book in every fantasy subgenre. I've got a horror TBR. I've got a finishing series TBR, which is not really categorical, but whether. So I put up all these TBRs, and what I've been doing the last few months is that, for example, reading a book, for example in fantasy TBR, and then filming a clip and keeping that clip on my computer, and then with the aim to then join them all together at the end of whenever I will finish the challenge and make a huge video. And I thought, no one, first of all, wants to sit through a 2 hours video. It's a movie. It wouldn't be YouTube. And I also am afraid that I don't like the clip thing where setting change, my outfit change, all of that. I don't know, it bothers me a little bit. But if I don't do that, by the time I will finish that specific TBR challenge, I might forget, because it might be a year time. And even if I write down, it won't be as having just freshly read the book and be able to convey my thoughts in a coherent matter. So I thought, what about for next year, I choose one book in each of my TBRs, and at the end of the month, I wrap up those books. So the way it works is I think I've got roughly around 6 TBRs on my channel, and then there are 3 bonus books which I'll explain. So by the end of the month I have to read 9 books, aim to at least. I'll choose 1 book in my 6 TBR, so 1 fantasy, 1 horror, 1 for Vita's challenge, which I'll cover in a second, and that, and wrap those up. And when I'm done with the whole challenge, I can do a video just wrapping up books very quickly without giving such a long synopsis as I would do, because I do that in the wrap-ups, and I can just go, for example, from my most liked to the least liked. So I'm still gonna wrap up the single challenges, I'm just not gonna get into much details with a synopsis and all of that in those. So I think this works better, and now I'm gonna cover what books I'm gonna read and the categories for this year, well, 2021, in the hope that 2021 will be a better year, although I cannot complain personally for all I've achieved and obtained in 2020. I'm still happy with it, but I really hope that for the world and for everybody else, we get a better year. So, 9 books I'm gonna read. First of all, I'm gonna each month choose a book from Sally. Now, she usually stays with my red books. I brought her down just for these. In here, I've got all the books that are behind me unread, which are not part of any challenge. I've cleaned all of these just to leave the leftovers books, because I want to tackle my unread books as well, and at the same time my reading challenges to complete them. I have to say that most of the reading challenges I am still gonna read my unread books, if it makes sense. So I try to make challenges where I go through my TBR pile instead of just buying a lot of books I had to buy anyway. Then I am gonna read each month 1 book in my reading a book in each fantasy subgenre. So I'm gonna pick 1 book from there. I'm gonna pick 1 book from my horror TBR. I'm gonna film soon another TBR, and I'm gonna share with you before the end of the year. And that TBR will be for reading 10 horror Japanese books. So I'm gonna have 2 horror each month. Then I'm gonna read the book in and finishing series TBR, which is a TBR where I finish series. So it's all about last books in series that I started. So I'm gonna pick 1 of those to finish. The next TBR that actually I'm gonna put on my channel, spoiler alert, is gonna be a true crime TBR. So then I'm gonna choose a book from my true crime list to read. In addition to that, I'm gonna read also non-fiction book each month, but I'm not gonna choose that because non-fiction I tend to acquire. For example, I see something, I like it, I buy it, and then I'll just read it immediately, if it makes sense. So I just wanna keep my options more broad. If I do a TBR at the end of each month, I will tell you which one I'm gonna read for that month. I'm not gonna do a TBR right now, if it makes sense, for non-fiction. Then I'm gonna read a Terry Pratchett book. So, which I'm gonna make 10 books. I'm not gonna read, I'm aiming 10 books a month, which is never gonna happen, but I will try. 1 Terry Pratchett book to finish the series. I'm a good way in, but it shouldn't take too long. And I'm gonna read a memoir on domestic violence. Again, there is a video down, and I'll link up here as well, where I explain what I do, what is my job, and why I decided to read memoir on domestic violence. However, those one will be wrapped up in a journal format. So I might mention that in the TBR, I might mention that in my wrap-ups really quickly, but I won't go in any details because I will do a separate video, but still a book, but there are still books that I want to read every month. And then another TBR that I'm preparing, probably is going to be on my channel soon, is going to be reading books around the world. So I want to read a book for every country in the world, and read a book basically by an author that was born or has the nationality of that. And I'm gonna put my first chunk of that TBR soon on. I'm just finalizing it, and I think that is gonna be all, and it sounds like it's enough. So I'm gonna read those books at least. To be honest, I'd say, oh, you know, if I finish all of those books, I'll read more, but I'll probably get some mangas, graphic novels in. I'll do challenges with those as well, but there won't be any TBRs. I'll just go randomly. So I might add books here and there. I might add audiobooks as well. So it's not like these are all the books I'm gonna read, because I do always consume audiobooks these days as well. These are the main chunks of books that I'm gonna read and wrap up monthly from next year. And really briefly, the last thing is why I am starting next month and not this year is, well, first of all, because I like you know, to just start in January and go and do the whole year is just, I don't know, it's one of those things. But also because this year, by the end of this year, I'm aiming to finish my reading the highest rated books on my Goodreads list. So in 2019 I went to Goodreads, chose 10 different genres and said I was going to read the highest rated ones on my TBR, and I am reading an 800-page book because of a challenge, and I've been doing that challenge for 2 years now. It needs to be completed by the end of this year. I swear, could this be the last thing I do? I need to finish this challenge, and I've got 3 books to finish for that. I'm of course reading other stuff in the meantime. I started to read more than 1 book at a time. I love it for now, so I'm gonna continue on. I need to wrap that challenge up before the end of this year, and you can hold me to that. So that's why I'm gonna start in January. Last thing I'm gonna do, probably wrap up before the end of the year of books in the challenge, fantasy, horror, and all that I've already read. So it's kind of a catch up after that. Now, in Bozo's challenge, some of those challenge, I've just got 10 books, not necessarily 12, but that's fine because not every month I'll be probably able to finish 10 books or 9 books where there is the total amount. So I'm giving myself some leeway. And yeah, thank you for listening, tuning in. I love some feedback on the TBRs if you think it would be nice seeing them. And I'm excited. I'm excited to start next year and read and have my book nook to read. I'm just exciting things to come. Take care, guys. Ciao.